welcome to Spotlight on Guilford. I'm Terri Cain. The spotlight today is on Guilford Youth Mentoring. And I would like to welcome back to GCTV Studios Barbara Solomon, who is the director of Guilford Youth Mentoring and has been since the year 2000. So 13 years giving service to this great program that we have here in Guilford. And the rest of my guests I will introduce. These are all our mentors, our youth mentors, or not all of them, but some of our youth mentors here. And we'll start with Jessie Parente, who is over here next to Barbara. Jessie is Director of Technology at Voyance Health and a proud new parent of Jessie Jr., who is now 3 months old. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
Go Jessie.
Yeah. And Adam West. Adam West is right over here, who is IT at Source Medical, and he wanted me to let everyone know he's the mayor. Not sure what he's the mayor of. Perhaps he'll enlighten us during this program today. But welcome, Adam. Glad to have a mayor on board here. And on my right over here is Mike Storiali. Did I get that right?
You did.
Marketing at Guilford Savings Bank.
Correct.
And at the end, Jeremy Canestri, welcome. Jeremy is in e-commerce at Guilford Savings Bank. So I'm glad you all could join us to chat about Guilford Youth Mentoring, what it's all about, how you got involved, and how is it going. I would really like to start out with a quote that I saw on the Guilford Youth Mentoring website because I thought it was really meaningful. So I'm going to read this for us. A mentor is not someone who walks ahead of you to show you how they did it. A mentor walks beside you to show you what you can do. Yeah. So really a wonderful twist on that, that whole idea of mentoring someone else, especially mentoring a young person. What are the ages, basically, of kids that you all mentor? Shout it out.
12, 13, yeah.
12 or 13? 14?
10.
And 10. So does youth mentoring go from all grades, Barbara?
We have very few at kindergarten level because kids are in school for such a short time. And we have very few seniors for the obvious reason that the relationships would be short-lived. However, we do have seniors and we do have a kindergarten child. So for the most part, it's between first and sophomore year, first grade and sophomore year in college, sophomore year in high school, because that gives enough time for relationships to develop.
Mm-hmm. So are most of the people who do become mentors, is this a long-term kind of commitment?
It is. Our goal is always to have a significant relationship with a child, and by definition, significance has to be a little longer than a year, longer than a few months. However, I want to qualify that. I think we often talk about how wonderful the relationships are that go from second grade to sophomore, junior, senior year at the high school, but we've come to understand that you can have a very significant relationship in 1 year if it's the right year, you know, if it's a pivotal year,
right.
If it's an important year for a kid. And so there are both kinds of significant relationships. Short, intense ones at a time in a kid's life when this relationship is meaningful and life-changing, and longer developmental ones where you start playing games with them or fishing with them at Baldwin, and you end up years later talking about their life choices, the choices they make that work for them and don't, where they're going in the future. So you span sort of a developmental cycle of a child in a longer. But neither is more important than the other. I think it's the match. It's the mentor and the child and what that brings to that dynamic relationship.
Right. How did you all get involved? I see we have all men here today. Is this typical? Are most mentors men? or are we just
It's
underrepresented?
it's really wonderful.
women?
I know, it's really wonderful that we have four young men here today. One young woman was going to accompany them, and she got an assignment at the last moment. And I do want to take a second to thank Jeremy and Mike and Adam and Jesse, because they're at the stage in their lives, you know, with a new baby, that with their jobs where they're not the boss necessarily. I mean, they're not the person who can say, I'm leaving and going to my mentoring, or I'm going. And they take time out of their lives at a time when most people don't to mentor. So we do have 165 mentors. They're about evenly split between men and women. Traditionally, mentoring programs have more women, and I think we're very lucky in Guilford that we have so many wonderful men who spend time with us. And sometimes with male mentors, they take more than one child, because we always have more boys referred for the mentoring program than girls. So some of our mentors have, some of our male mentors have two or three mentees. 2 or 3 mentees, always at various points, elementary, you know, middle school and high school, never in the same school. Right. Because the mentoring relationship is a one-to-one, very important, significant. That guy, that mentor over there, he's mine. He's just for me. He doesn't come into the building for anybody else or for anyone else. Yeah, so important. It's not typical, but it's wonderful that we have all men here this morning. I mean, when is it? This afternoon. This afternoon. Yes.
You mentioned fishing.
Yes.
Is that typically what you do with your mentee?
Well, unfortunately, this year we're at Adams. But when I started mentoring 2 years ago, we were at Baldwin, and they have a little pond there with a little river. So we used to fish whenever we could. I think we hold the record there.
Oh, really? The record for biggest fish or most fish?
I think we caught about 9 or 10 bass in one lunch period.
Oh, wow, so there are bass in that little pond? I didn't know that.
Yes, there are bass and sunfish.
Oh, wow.
I think they actually stock them, don't they?
Oh, do they?
Do they
I don't think so, no.
No, you think it's natural?
Yeah.
So, Jeremy, this is your 3rd year mentoring.
Yes.
So obviously you got something out of it the first couple of years, or
yes, you know. Actually a lot more than I had expected. You know, someone had approached me at work and asked me if I would, you know, like to mentor, and I thought about it and decided, you know, I'd definitely like to try it, and it's been a great experience. It's very self-rewarding, and just you know, walking into the school and seeing my mentee after a week with a smile on his face is great.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy it.
That sounds good. Mike, what kinds of things do you do with your mentee?
Actually, this week we've been building a cardboard camera, believe it or not. But until this past week, he had been beating me pretty bad in Monopoly. Okay. We originally had Monopoly Junior, and he was far too intelligent for that. So we got the real Monopoly, and the first couple times around the board, I had kind of gone easy on him and quickly realized my mistake. Yeah. And didn't take very long for him to beat me. You work at a bank, right, Mike?
I
do, yes. Luckily not in that department.
And how long have you been mentoring?
Only about 4 months.
Okay.
Similar to Jeremy, somebody approached me and said that they were looking for somebody, and you know, thought that it would be a good shot. And I found after the first couple times, I think I was looking forward to it as much as my mentee was.
Right.
So.
Right. And you all, this is a mentoring that takes place not after school, but during the school day. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, for me, it's actually, I'm there when he gets off the bus. I'm there first thing in the morning. So I actually watch him come down the hall, and then he drops his stuff off, and we run off to mentoring. Right. But yeah, it's during school hours.
About how much time do you get with these kids every week? Per session?
It depends. Sometimes they'll have a study hall, and you'll be able to get in. Sometimes they'll just have a lunch break that you can go and see them on a lunch and recess. But it's usually under an hour per week.
Yeah, mine's at a lower level, lower age level right now, so it's about 40 minutes or so.
Yeah. Adam?
Yes. We tend to go a little over with ours. It's usually about 48 minutes, but we'll come in probably around like 55.
Well, you can do that because you're the mayor, so you can take.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Sets its own rules.
And how old did you say your mentee is? What school are you at?
I am at Adams
You're at
Middle
Adams,
School.
okay.
Yes, 7th grader. Just moved to the town. Typically, we just play basketball and talk.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, or fortunately for me, I did not make the mistake of letting him win.
Good. Good.
I don't take it easy.
Yeah. Make him strive for that
Absolutely.
win, right?
Absolutely. That's
Right.
my coaching mentality.
Yeah, good. Oh, so that's right, because you are a coach.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes,
so
I coach at the high school baseball.
yeah. Well, that sounds good.
How's it different mentoring, do you think, Adam, than coaching?
To be honest, I don't see much of a difference. With coaching, it's more of a team aspect, but you do still get the one-on-one time with each player. Same thing with mentoring, obviously. One-on-one, talk about mechanics, anything that can help make you better.
So your mission is
Yes,
the same,
it's
to increase their skill.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Not just increase their skill, but also increase their self-thought.
Self-management,
Yes.
self-concept.
Yes.
Yeah. The only thing that's different is that it's just one
Yes. And
kid.
and with coaching, I can yell once in a while.
But in mentoring, you don't.
No, I try not to.
No. Jesse, how long have you been mentoring?
This is year 3 for me, so I've gone 3 grades with my guy, and it's just been great. It's essentially during the school, just like them, the school day. I think that's one of the things that was really actually more appealing to me, was the commitment was flexible. So I got to go during school hours, and this year it's actually set. So I have a specific time I can work with every day to go and see the mentee, and it's consistent, but it's something I can actually work on during my lunch break. I can go and see, I think, at 12:30. So that was really appealing, because life is very busy outside of the work hours. So and it was flexible enough. And I actually found out through Adam. He, I think, didn't want me to know about it at first. He was hogging the program, and I found out about it, and because I had been looking to do something like this, and some of the things that I had initially looked into were very big on the commitment. So it just never worked out, and then we come along something like this, and it's just a perfect fit.
Right.
Yeah.
What kinds of things, activities have you been doing?
We do it all. It depends on the weather mostly. I can say with confidence, when he was younger, it was very easy playing basketball with him. But my confidence has dwindled as he gets older and taller.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to admit that you played basketball with someone half your age and you've lost
Right.
more than one occasion.
It's a humbling experience.
It's very humbling in many ways, and that's just another one of them. So
you teach him how to be a good loser.
I do, and I always say, I need a halftime. We need a break. The energy they have is crazy. But basketball really is what he enjoys the most, and it brings me back to when I used to play basketball.
So do you tend to, as mentors, do you try and lead your mentee to activities, or do you let them basically choose what's of interest to them? How much sort of molding and controlling do you do of the sessions? Anybody jump in?
I think that took a little bit of time for the mentee to decide, at least in my case. The first couple of weeks I would go there and he'd kind of look at me and I was like, it's up to you what you want to do. And now he's come up with ideas probably like 6 weeks out from now. Like he has all of these things that he wants to do. So, he's planned. I don't know what he is going to do once the summer comes along. So I think it kind of depends on their personality. I mean, at the very beginning, he wasn't too keen on just coming up with something to do, but as we developed a relationship, he had things that he wanted us to do together.
Mm-hmm. And that must have given him some sense of power and control, and
I hope so, yeah.
To be able to make the choices.
Yeah, especially in a school setting where kids don't get to make that many school choices. So this is a very special opportunity for him to learn some of those leadership skills and management skills.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was kind of the same way. Just we got the first couple meetings. It was kind of this process of figuring out what we both wanted to do, and then You know, now it's just there's like a schedule, and you know, as soon as it gets warm, we're going outside. You know, when it's not warm, we can do this, or if it's raining, we can do that. So and now it kind of just worked itself out for me.
Right. So what does happen if you can't make it on any particular day? How does that kind of play out? Let's say, you know, you're the one that's sick, or you got to work, or something comes up and you can't get there.
Typically, I get the question, "When will you be back?" That's it. Just, you know, that's okay. You know, you're sick today. Too bad. When are you coming back?
Right. Right.
So if you really can't make it, though, if you have a business thing.
Right, which happens, you know, it happens a lot. But as long as you kind of reschedule and let them know that, you know, it's just, you know, it just happened to be this day that you'll be back, they usually don't mind. They're happy.
And you said something very important, that you may not be there that day, but you'll be back.
Right.
And you will be, and that's a consistency that kids can learn over time. But there are people that help you at the school, are there?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the office staff down at Adams, they're incredible, same as the high school. Like, they're always out there to, like, lend a hand if needed. Call, make sure you're coming, or, you know, call to reschedule if the kid's not there as well.
Let the kid know, let the student know if the mentor has an emergency and can't come.
Right.
So that's one of the advantages of a school-based mentoring program as opposed to a community-based mentoring program, where the mentors here work within a group. So if they need any help, from secretarial scheduling to talking to the social worker because perhaps their student looks sad or preoccupied of some sort, or has said something to them that worries them a little bit, or even that you just observe after knowing somebody for 3 years, you kind of get to know who they are. And if suddenly he's different, you know, Jesse might be able to say to the social worker, well, just want to check with you to see if everything's okay. So you have a team around you, and you know, that makes it a little easier to do your job, which is to build a relationship and to be a support for this student, because you don't have to do all of the arrangements.
And I assume there is a training that takes place once a person from our community decides, yeah, hey, I'd like to be a mentor. What's the process then?
We have what we call a basic training session, which it's about an hour and a half. Sometimes we just had one last week. It stretched to almost 2 hours because the mentors had some questions. The incoming mentors had lots of questions of the seasoned mentors who were there with us. And it's kind of the nuts and bolts of what you need to know to enter a relationship with a student in a school-based mentoring program. So what do we do? What's our role? What's the infrastructure that you function in? You know, all of these guys are Guilford Youth Mentoring mentors, but Jeremy and Adam are Adam's mentors. And Jesse, you're there too, right? So they're Adam's mentors. So in any particular week, they don't think of the program. They think about, how is Adam's working, and how do I fit my mentoring into Adam's? And Mike is at you're at Lake.
I'm at Lakes.
You're one of the elementary schools, so it's similar. It's a similar thing. So that you have and I think Jesse was moving in that direction, that this is a commitment maybe that a young, busy person can make, because it's not at 7 o'clock at night, you know, when you have family obligations or your other life. It's within your workday. That doesn't mean it's easy. And I salute all of you guys for, like you did today, rushing out of your office, you know, when people are asking you questions, or they're expecting you to be there, or they're expecting fires to be put out, and just you honored your commitment to us, just like you do to your students. That commitment comes first to that child, and you're there, even though it wasn't always easy. But it still is within the structure of a day. And some of you don't even live in Guilford, right?
I was just wondering that. Who's from
I
Guilford?
don't think any of us do.
None of you live in Guilford.
No.
I didn't
live in
realize that.
Bradford.
Yeah. So when you leave your day, you're in other towns, and we're so lucky that you mentor in Guilford, because you work in Guilford. Well, almost Guilford. You guys work in Brantford.
Yes.
Yeah, and we both went to Guilford. So.
Yeah, we
Right,
both
but
graduated from there.
that's
Also,
a good thing.
You're Guilford
We're
graduate.
both,
Yes.
yeah,
So you went
alumni.
through, when did you graduate?
2001.
2001?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, new millennium, first kids, the new millennium.
The best.
The millennium.
best class?
The
It
millennium.
was, yeah, without a doubt.
I heard 2007 was the best
Oh.
class.
They lied.
Yeah, misinformation.
Can't wait to leave here.
Really? That's when my daughter graduated, my youngest daughter. And,
And you started.
She was kidding. She,
Yeah.
she didn't know 2001.
She has to talk to Adam and
Yeah.
Jesse. She'll find out. And when did you guys graduate?
2004.
2004. And that was from Branford,
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yep.
And Mike?
I was 2005 from Xavier.
Okay. And but you lived in Branford.
I lived in
You live in
Bedford.
Branford.
Yes.
Mike,
I lived in Old Saybrook at the time. I live in
Saybrook.
Cromwell now.
Oh, okay.
But he's in Guilford,
But you-
at the Guilford Savings Bank during his
During your
Yeah.
work day.
during the workday.
So this is a really good mix of, Connecticut right here.
Yeah, it is. It'd be interesting to look. I know that we have many mentors who live in Clinton, Old
Right.
Saybrook, Killingworth,
Mhm.
West Haven even. Although there's a cluster who live in Guilford and Madison. But the common theme is that they all work in Guilford or close enough to Guilford to get there
To
from
get
their
there
job.
quickly, right.
Yeah, to get
And
to
I
one
guess
of
I
the
just assumed all of our mentors were Guilford people, from Guilford or lived in Guilford. So
Right,
this is
yeah.
interesting.
They all have the Guilford connection, or
Right.
almost
Yeah.
almost the Guilford connection. Well, you guys have the high school connection.
Are you going to be coaching here in Guilford?
Yes,
Yeah.
I coach the freshman baseball team.
You gonna have a winning record?
Absolutely.
All right.
Good coaching brings good results.
Oh.
That's right.
Good mentoring brings good results.
Exactly. And did you say how many mentors we have all together?
About 165. And as a matter of fact, we have 14 students on our waiting list at 3 of the elementary schools, Baldwin Middle School, Adams Middle School, and Guilford High School. So we have students, even now, what is it, April 2nd?
Right.
April 2nd, we have students who would like to have mentors for the rest of the school year. So anybody watching this program, don't think it's too late to mentor. As a matter of fact, it's kind of a nice time to meet a student. You can be outside, the weather's great. There's a short enough time that you get to know each other, but there's, but you're going to be leaving each other in a little while, so then you'll be able to start again in September. Right. So it's not a bad time, especially this year since we'll be in school until July, I think.
Yes.
Because of all of the storms.
It go on forever.
Yes, but please don't hesitate, thinking that you need to wait until next year.
We have both girls and boys waiting on the wait list. About what's
Yes.
the breakdown of that?
That's a good question, Terri. It's probably 3/4, 75% boys waiting, and
Right.
quarter girls.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Barbara, one thing also I think should be mentioned, if you become a mentor and the mentee that you're paired up with, if it doesn't work out with them, don't get discouraged. Don't feel like you're not, or you shouldn't be part of the program. Don't feel like it's your fault. Sometimes there's just not the strong connection.
Right.
And, maybe he decided he doesn't want a mentor, or maybe it's just not, you have someone who's athletic but you're not, and you don't feel you're a good connection. Like there's gonna be another kid that's gonna need someone like you to help and be their mentor. So don't give up if it doesn't work out the first time.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, Adam, because that does happen, despite the fact that we try to spend time with you guys in an hour or so interview, getting to know you, not just what you like to do, but your personal style, your sense of humor, flexibility, things like that, and then find a child that would be well matched to you. But it's a program of human beings, and you just can never tell, especially with a teenager. And Adam is talking about, if a first relationship is with a teenager at Guilford High School, it's not that kids wouldn't profit from the relationship, but there's so much drama and there's so much pulling at their lives. There's so many other things on any Wednesday that you might be there, or any Tuesday that you might be there, that they're just not as open. They're not.
Right.
They're not at the point where they're as ready to allow another adult, an adult into their lives, no matter how wonderful the adult, and certainly the younger the mentor, the better, you would think, in terms of being accepted. But when it's the girlfriend down there crying, or people who are arguing with them and they can't let all of you remember I think how emotional high school can be. I mean, how irrational sometimes. So that was very important that you said that, Adam. It doesn't mean that any time you spend with them is not worthwhile. It just means that kid was not ready for a mentoring relationship now.
Right. Barbara, are you the individual that does the matching, or do you have a staff that works that knows these?
Lisa Ott
these
is
kids?
the assistant coordinator, and Lisa and I interview everybody together. We talk to the social workers at the high school. We actually meet the kids. Lisa and I together, we actually meet the high school students. At Adams, sometimes we meet them. So it's basically Lisa and I, and all the social workers that we work with, and all the guidance counselors who sometimes meet the mentors first, even before there's a match, or sometimes just meet them and say, that's right, now I'll introduce you to the student. So,
right.
yeah, so it's a team effort.
And have you seen this program grow since 2000?
Yes, we had a rough couple of years. The first, thank goodness for the Guilford Savings Bank. They were the first 12 mentors who were matched to 12 high school freshmen. And we learned that year from the high school freshmen that we should never start a program with high school freshmen. I mean, they pretty much told us the wrong time to start to tell somebody that they need a mentor or that they should have a mentor. You know, you should start in 7th or 8th grade, or you should work with sophomores or juniors on career exploration.
Right.
But so it took us about 2 to 3 years before we got much beyond 24 or 25. And then there's something like a critical mass. You know, once we had about 25 to 30 mentors and kids, then those mentors started bringing in other mentors. Those kids started seeing kids with mentors. And so it seemed to be like 30. Then we just started growing exponentially. But it was, again, if it were not for the Guilford Savings Bank people, they just kept coming back. All right, you know, that one didn't work. Bring me another one.
Right, right.
Thanks, guys.
No problem.
And I think it's important to have people in the community that are willing to go those beginning distances with you, because starting any new program, which is an unknown, you know, is difficult.
And this is a nationwide program, right? This is just not a Guilford program.
Yes,
this is
it's
something that
we have a Connecticut. There's a
follow.
Connecticut mentoring project. We follow their best practices, and that's where we got our training. And then there's a national, mentor.org, that has great websites and great ideas.
Oh, okay.
So it is a national, right? It is a national. There was a funny story. One of the women who just came in and was trained last week said she had been reading our articles, watching these programs, looking at the display in the community center, and then she said, she turned on the television set, and Colin Powell said, "Be a mentor." Oh. And she said, "Oh my God, if Colin Powell is telling me to be a mentor, and I just read all of these things about Guilford mentoring, I should come." So she's there for the training.
So she had the sign.
She had the sign.
She had the sign. Go be a mentor. If any of you out there would like to be mentors, there is a website. It's guilfordmentoring.org.
Yes.
So that's easy to remember, guilfordmentoring.org. You can go on that website. You can explore more of what we've been talking about here with these fine mentors, and see if this is something that would work out for you.
And you can actually talk with any of the mentors that you would like before before you actually commit. So that's a possibility too.
Right. So again, it's not too late. This is a good time to jump in, visit that website, and see.
You can
even
complete the application online. Mike Storial just recruited a friend of his for us. He recruited him on Tuesday. The guy filled out the application on Wednesday, came to the training session on Thursday, and I think we have a mentee for him. He said,
"Oh my goodness,
this is you're the fastest one in the West." I've never seen somebody come through the program. Usually it takes weeks.
Right. Well, another thing that it was meant to be.
Meant to be.
Right.
Pun.
Well,
to be a mentor. Good.
On that note, perhaps we can draw our conversation to a close, unless there's other things you want to throw out there. Everybody good?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for the conversation. Thanks again for coming down and spending this time with us. Thank you, Barbara, again for your great work. And
this is why I come to work every day.
We'll be
because
back.
of wonderful people like these mentors.
And Guilford, thank you for watching Spotlight on Guilford. tune in again. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.